All right, so understanding symptoms is probably the most important part in the very beginning of your recovery. Because if you don't understand what's going on in your body, generally speaking, why these things are happening, it's really hard to respond properly because there's always going to be that deep curiosity and fear of what even is happening, right? And you might still have that underlying little bit even when you do understand it, and that can be just responded to with ideal, but we want to build a foundation of knowledge. So I like this website. This is the only website that I recommend that you look at symptoms with. I definitely don't recommend Reddit. I don't recommend Facebook forums. Don't ask people. Just stick with something that's kind of like tried and true and one source of truth. So, anxietycenter.com. You can go to anxiety symptoms, right? And just kind of like scroll to pretty much the very bottom, and you will see, let's see here. Here we go. A list of top anxiety symptoms. So you can see, look at all this. Look at all these body symptoms. Um, Chest symptoms, fears, head symptoms, brain fog, headaches, hearing and ear symptoms, heart symptoms, mind symptoms, emotions, feelings. Like you get the point. Look, I mean, this is insane, right? How many symptoms anxiety can cause. But the most important part of this, as you navigate this website, number one, once you're learning about some of these symptoms, if you're having like really sticky ones that you can't get past, you can't respond to, learn about them and then understand that if you go back to the page every single day, it's going to be the same answer. So we really only need to learn about these symptoms once. We're not going to use this for reassurance every single time the symptom gets strong. This is just for the purpose of building, a foundation of knowledge. So when you go into these symptoms, let's go into like, I don't know, body tremors or something. So it's going to talk a little bit about what it is, um, what can cause it. When you're looking at this website, your answer is pretty much always going to be hyperstimulation, right? It's not the case where it's like a short-term stress response and then it goes away, right? You're in hyperstimulation mode, which is, yeah, nervous system dysregulation. This is where it can last, a really long time. It's not like quote unquote normal anxiety where it flares up, there's a trigger, it dies down, you have breaks. Hyperstimulation can come with constant symptoms, right? So, yeah, all that to say, I really like this website. Now, talking about symptoms in general, we talked about in another video the anxiety umbrella. Really important to put symptoms under one umbrella, right? You have one problem, not a million problems. And the next thing is to understand that symptoms are all one and the same, right? If you're having derealization, or you're having brain fog, or you're having heart palpitations, or you're having intrusive thoughts. It's all like the same exact thing, basically. It's just a manifestation of chronic anxiety, nervous system dysregulation, adrenaline, however you want to term it, right? But it's all one and the same. So I want to break down the three types of symptoms really quick that are kind of like the big categories. So first is physical symptoms. For a lot of people, you're going to have chronic physical symptoms. I did for a very, 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 very long time, and I had pretty much no breaks in between for quite a while, right? Into my recovery. So again, you've got the list. You can see all the symptoms. You can watch my long video if you want to list out my symptoms. I probably missed like 100. It was insane how many symptoms I had. But when the body enters that state of, fight or flight, it's going to start hitting every organ pretty much, right? It's going to dilate your eyes. It's going to mess with your sleep. It's going to mess with your GI track. So lots of things that it can do. The next category is thoughts. So a lot of people can tend to separate this. And they're like, yeah, 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 my physical symptoms, I get it. I understand why they're here. But the thoughts feel like they're you, they feel like they're part of you. And the thoughts are what made me feel like I was going to go crazy or develop, you know, something deeper like schizophrenia or psychosis or whatever my fears were. And it's important to understand that when your body is in this chronic state of stress, fight or flight, it's on guard. And so it's looking for worst case scenario in every single situation. And so that can look like you're in your kitchen, you're walking by your knife set, your mind goes to, I don't even have to sit here and tell you the story, right? What if I did this, right? Graphic thoughts. It can be you're driving on the street and you're like, what if my body made myself swerve into the other car and crash and hurt everybody in the car, right? Okay, it's just a thought. Your mind is going to worst case scenario because it's on guard, it's looking for threats, it's looking for danger. Your personal thoughts are typically going to line up with what you fear the most and what matters most to you. So my thoughts were around my health, my well-being, being alive, going crazy, my family, my kids, hurting somebody, hurting my kids, um, my faith, right? Like my, yeah, definitely like faith, spiritual type thoughts. And yeah, I would say more than anything though, it was going crazy and losing it, right? Things escalating, being stuck this way forever even. So that is why thoughts are there. Thoughts need the same exact response that symptoms need because they're all one and the same. So understand that a thought is just a thought. It's just your body in worst case scenario mode and trying to come up with, you know, like a threat, right, in every single situation. And so you do not need to engage with these thoughts. So long story short, ideal, 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 ideal. It's one and the same with physical symptoms. The next category is actually just a physical symptom, but I want to break it apart because a lot of people come in specifically with DPDR or depersonalization and derealization. And this one got me because I will lump in DPDR, my visual symptoms, my brain fog. It was all kind of like intertwined, I guess you can say. Um, but yeah, all that this is kind of like almost like another version of it's on the panic spectrum, right? Like you have panic attacks, which is your body flooding you with that quick adrenaline burst, right? And so you can have like anxiety symptoms 24/7. Panic attacks are that quick adrenaline burst, and that's when your body's like trying to warn you by getting you to run, basically. Now, DPDR on the other end of the spectrum, but same thing, is your body trying to numb you out because it's like, hey, there's a lion, you're about to get eaten. Let's completely numb you out so that you're not going to feel getting eaten by this lion. And so it really puts this haze over you. Best way to describe it I had a ton of visual symptoms, but cognitively, I felt like I had taken like 4 or 5 Benadryl and I was just like floating through life. And it was very concerning and it made me worry that I was getting dementia or that I had brain damage or something was like seriously wrong. So some people can have derealization flare up, come and go. Mine for a really long time was constant. And so for me, I had had my surgery. And so I was convinced that it was like anesthesia had damaged my brain because I felt like I was still drugged basically from anesthesia. But at the end of the day, it's all one and the same. It's all just a response in your body. You can read more about all of this on this website. I just want to kind of hit the principles and the concepts, right? So learn about the symptoms, understand that um, anxiety, nervous system, hyperstimulation can cause 24/7 symptoms, regardless of if there's a trigger, if you're quote unquote anxious. Um, and again, as the other videos have said, the way out is response. letting your body calm down, showing your body that you're safe, that you can do normal things, even alongside the symptoms, and then showing yourself that you don't need to add these 5 Fs because that will keep the fire burning, right? So I hope that helps. Definitely feel free to ask about specifics. I just want to kind of give you a blanket, here's how you understand symptoms type video. And then on my YouTube channel, you can also find like a whole playlist about DPDR because I have a lot more videos on that one and some other symptom videos. But yeah, I've got quite a bit of content on DPDR. So again, ask questions as they arise.